Looking at gorillas, it seems that they're real monsters, ready to pounce on anyone who's within their sight and reach. Their intimidating size and enormous physical strength do not allow us to think otherwise. Is it so? Yes, and now you'll see it. In this episode, you'll learn why the gorilla is the most dangerous animal in Africa. Let's go! Gorilla versus crocodile. Gorillas are very strong and intelligent creatures that live in the rainforests and mountainous regions of Africa. Despite their population decline, they're still strong animals that are feared by many creatures. Crocodiles, on the other hand, live in the rivers and lakes of Africa and other areas around the world, so they do not intersect with each other. But which animal's stronger? What happens if a gorilla attacks a crocodile, or vice versa? In fact, there are quite a lot of options. But before thinking about them, let's remember the average size of these creatures. So the gorilla has a weight of about 770 pounds. Crocodiles often weigh more than 1,100 pounds, and sometimes their weight can reach as much as a ton. The primates run at a speed of 25 to 28 miles per hour, which is faster than crocodiles swim in water. The bite force of crocodiles is much more powerful. Therefore, if the reptile gets to its opponent and bites any of its limbs, it'll be hard for the gorilla. The orientation and space of both creatures is great. However, the crocodile still beats the gorilla because of the receptors it has that help it determine changes in environment. It may seem that the crocodile will win, and it can't even be disputed. But in fact, everything is not so simple. That's why it's not necessary to judge only by size. In fact, gorillas are much more intelligent creatures. What's the point of being strong if the enemy knows your every move and skillfully dodges your attacks? We've seen many cartoons or movies where a tiny but clever character defeated this or that giant. Here, too, there is something similar. Even though the gorilla looks bigger than the opponent, the primate is more likely to win. It'll call its brothers for help, use improvised materials, or invent something else right on the go. Now, if you still don't believe in the greatness of gorillas, take a look at this clip. It shows big apes being right next to real lions. And it's not that they're worried about them. Some are doing their own thing and others are doing their own. That can only tell you one thing, that the gorillas are confident in their abilities. They're not afraid of even the kings of the jungle, which have an incredible ability to fight shoulder to shoulder with their congeners. However, being next to a strong animal is one thing, but sharing your home with an uninvited guest is quite another thing. In this clip, tourists noticed how a small snake got into the primate's enclosure. Those, of course, immediately said about it to all the congeners and organized some kind of congress or unscheduled meeting. The gorillas crowded over the poor creeping creature and didn't let it slither away quietly. Fortunately for the snake, humans intervened and rescued it. But I think this will be a great example for other animals, an example that you don't want to mess with gorillas. However, sometimes these primates can welcome an uninvited guest more cordially. In this video, a dog snuck into the gorilla's house. At first, the primates chased it and wanted to punish it for such an outrage. But in the process of running, they realized that, judging by its behavior, the dog didn't want it at all. Either someone deliberately threw the dog into their house or it just got lost. As a result, the primate stopped and let the dog go away. The doggy looked back. It was scared, but it shouldn't have worried. The primates were kind and favorable to the guest that day, but that doesn't mean they'll be just as benevolent another time. I certainly wouldn't push my luck. Why wouldn't I? Because gorillas are just crazy in terms of strength. Did you know, for example, that they can easily break even shatterproof glass? Fortunately, it's double-sided, but nevertheless, as one of its parts was subjected to a severe test of strength by the primate and definitely did not pass it. I wonder how much the tourists were scared at that moment. Just imagine, you're walking quietly through the park, looking at the primates through the glass, and suddenly one of them runs up and breaks a part of it. The people did the right thing to move away from there immediately and call the workers to the scene. Otherwise, I think a few more such runs and the path to freedom for the primates will be open. And it would have been nice if those primates from the previous story had just gotten out of their enclosure and run into the wild, but no, they would have started fighting with anyone. Despite their self-confidence and seemingly calm behavior, at the first opportunity, at the first fun poking at them, they'd flare up like a match and would take out the offender. In this video, fortunately for others, the object for taking it out was another giant primate, a congener of one of the gorillas engaged in the fight. Therefore, neither it nor the second fighter were injured. The gorillas just delighted the public and made everyone realize, once again, that they're not to be messed with. How do they live? This question probably arose in the minds of many of you after watching these videos. Sometimes gorillas are very calm, and sometimes they have a fight at the first opportunity. In fact, in this respect, gorillas are not to be understood. They have serious and menacing abilities that it would be strange not to use, so they take it out at the first opportunity. Nevertheless, they will not attack anyone without a reason. In addition, most of the individuals in the group have a separate creature that has all the main duties to protect them from enemies. I'm talking about their alpha male, which can almost always be distinguished by a special ridge located on the head. It's known in science as the sagittal crest. It's what makes the primate's head look like a rectangle. Due to the elongated shape of the skull, the area of the chewing muscles also increases, which means that its bite is much more painful than that of the others. In fact, most herbivorous mammals have this feature, and gorillas are no exception. Didn't you know that they love grass? Despite all their brutality and intransigence and strength, the gorilla is a pure vegan. Fruit, bamboo, nuts, that's basically all they eat. That's why their stomachs are so large, to digest the necessary 55 to 77 pounds of vegetation per day. They need a giant stomach. And what do gorillas do when they're not searching for food or fighting? They mate, of course. These primates are ready to make babies all year round. One female gives birth to 4 to 5 babies during its lifetime. A caring parent will babysit everyone for as long as 3 years, but the babies leave their native troop only by the age of 8 during puberty. Usually this happens on the initiative of the elders, but in the case of gorillas and any other primates, this is the desire of the babies. Mothers would be glad never to part with them at all, just like people. Despite this, it's not profitable to feed many hungry mouths. That's number one. Number 2, consanguineous mating, which will inevitably follow after the puberty of females is bad. Hence, there's no option but to leave the parental home and live separately. Young individuals which break away from such a cozy and good family usually form their own separate family. But sometimes they simply join another already existing family. Females are welcomed on foreign territories with open arms, and no one beats males in the face as well. The main thing is not to flirt with local ladies. Otherwise, the alpha will turn from a caring foster father and the new friend into a berserker. And now you'd probably think that these primates are adaptable and that they'll find a solution to the problem no matter what happens. But that's not the case. Neither their strength nor their intelligence helps them adapt to the environment if it's about rapid adaptation. Something bright and unusual falling on a familiar path can cause confusion in the animal souls. Changes in the environment can make a gorilla panic. Loud, sharp clap and spark in pitch darkness can lead to stress, and natural disasters can adversely affect its health. That's why they're not eager for any changes, and even making some big steps towards something new, try to stick to the already known plan and circumstances. Who's the strongest of them all? And also the older representatives in the family have some kind of a thing in their heads, something that makes them repeatedly test their strength and see if they're really the toughest in the family. For this purpose, the main male has come up with a full-fledged ritual. It rises to its full height, beats its chest, and runs at top speed aimlessly, shouting and growling in the process. In this way, it demonstrates to the females and other males that it's the most powerful one here. As soon as everyone pays attention to it and thinks, "What a cool alpha male we have," it'll calm down and return to its usual role of defender. Usually, when it comes to Africa, it's the lion that's called the king of the jungle. However, after watching the following clips, you may seriously doubt this. Next, I'll show you cases and moments when lions messed with the wrong opponents. Crocodile. Lions don't often hunt crocodiles. These big cats are smart and understand the danger of toothy reptiles. But if there's one crocodile and many lions, why not try? The animals in this video did just that. The lion approaches the crocodile, distracts it, at which point other big cats come around the corner. They begin to bite the crocodile and hold it down. At one point it seems that the reptile's finished, but the crocodiles manage to stand up to the opponents with dignity and repel all the attacks. Now it itself snaps at the lions, and they have to back away and retreat. Porcupine. It's one thing to confront a predatory crocodile, it's quite another to fight a rodent. But it's not so easy when that rodent is the porcupine. Though much smaller than lions, it can give them a lot of trouble. At night, an entire pride of 7 lions decided to hunt the porcupine. But the beast was not about to become the dinner of the cheeky cats. It didn't let them close, put sharp spines to prevent the cats from hitting it, and sometimes made lunges towards the lions itself. The hunt failed completely. Antelope. This is a much more familiar and typical lion opponent. The lioness has knocked the antelope down and begun to sink its teeth into its throat. It seems that the antelope is no longer alive, but this is not the case. It stands up sharply and tries to throw the big cat off it, but it's not that easy. The lioness is firmly holding onto the antelope and won't let it go. Both animals have taken their positions, and now the one that gets tired or loses its vigilance loses first. The lioness was the first. It relaxed a little, and the antelope instantly threw it off. Now we have another antelope. It sits by the watering hole and has no idea that the lioness has already tracked it down. The predator runs towards it and attacks the prey. It has a great position to control, the chances of winning are enormous, but the antelope is not such an easy opponent. The herbivore poked the lioness with its long horns and instantly broke free. Honey badgers. We see 2 honey badgers and a pride of lions. If bets were taken on this fight, many would bet on the lions without a second thought. After all, it's difficult to oppose something to such a numerical advantage, but don't jump to conclusions. The honey badgers look much better. One of them hisses at the lions, and the latter have to back away. Suddenly, the predator grabs one of the honey badgers and even begins to bite it, but the latter has too thick skin. Even 3-inch-long teeth of the lion won't bite through it so easily. The honey badger quickly frees itself and drives the aggressor away. Soon, its congener runs up to it and rushes at the lion. The big cat bounces back in fright. Wasn't expecting such a powerful onslaught from 2 small animals. Wild dog. When fighting lions, honey badgers use their madness and impenetrability. The more vulnerable African wild dogs, on the other hand, prefer cunning tactics. Here we see a lioness sinking its teeth into the throat of a wild dog. It seems breathless and completely defeated. The lioness is already carrying its prey off the battlefield, but then another wild dog runs behind it. This was part of the plan. The second dog distracted the predator's attention, it relaxed its guard, and the prey jumped out of its teeth and escaped. All the while, the wild dog was pretending to be dead. To fool the queen of the jungle like that is very cool, no doubt. Warthog. Lions often hunt warthogs, kind of African wild pigs, and such hunts are usually successful. But sometimes the pigs fight back. Look at how this warthog gets away from a lioness. First, it runs in a circular path, but then it turns onto the road and continues to run away while squealing. Even the second lioness couldn't help its congener. The warthog successfully escaped. And here's a similar situation. The lioness tracked down the warthog and attacked it, but it fled. The speed of the adult warthog is about 31 miles per hour. Lions are faster, but like other cats, they get tired quickly. The warthog just needs to hold on and change directions before the lioness is exhausted. Already, after half a minute, the predator slows down and lags behind. And after another 10 seconds, it stops completely and starts breathing heavily. Hyenas. It's one thing to chase warthogs, and it's quite another thing to hunt dangerous hyenas. This lion made a huge mistake. It went hunting alone and stumbled upon the hyenas. The predator ended up right in the middle of the hyena's clan. It's like being in a bad neighborhood at night. Something bad's bound to happen. And so the hyenas begin to surround the lion and laugh maliciously. When the preparations were finished, the predators attacked the lion. They surround it and bite it. Several animals at once try to finish off the king of the jungle with their terrifying fangs. The lion tries to repel the attacks, but it's almost unreal to do it considering such numerical superiority. Fortunately, it's saved by a congener lion, which miraculously happened to be nearby. Had it not been for it, the hyenas would have torn the lion apart within minutes. An even more monstrous mistake was made by the lion in this video. Here we see a huge herd of buffaloes. See what I mean? Yes, the lion somehow got into the center of this herd and tried to attack the bulls, but it was as stupid as possible. The buffaloes didn't disperse, as they often do in such cases, but simply began to throw, trample, and crush the lion. It was impossible to survive in such chaos. After a couple of minutes, the body of the lion was by the water. Let's start with the action right away. The lioness pounces on the zebra from behind and tries to knock it down, but the herbivore is not confused. The zebra began to throw the predator off itself, and at the same time it tried to beat it against the ground. But that's not all. Like Julius Caesar, it does several things at once, and in addition to fighting the lioness, it runs toward the road. The lioness holds on with its last ounce of strength, but still clings to the zebra. After the somersault, however, the predator loosens its grip. The lioness tries one last time to grab onto the zebra, but it breaks free completely and runs away. Cheetah. Next up is a confrontation between two big cats. The lioness made its way into the territory of the cheetahs and got its eye on the cubs of the spotted cat. The female cheetah did not wait for the attack and ran to the lioness first. It distracted it and dragged it away. At that moment, the lioness was attacked by a second cheetah, and the predator started to fight with it. As a result, the rangers of the reserve intervened in the situation and dispersed the animals. But even without their help, the lioness wouldn't have been able to successfully complete the hunt. The cheetahs did everything great. This footage was taken in the same reserve. We see an exiled lion. It's been chased out of the pride and is now just wandering around the savannah. It's wandered into someone else's pride territory, and the neighbor hyenas begin to yell and giggle. Now the other lions know that an intruder has entered their territory. The lioness tried to chase the stranger away, but it sharply humbled it and frightened it just by looking at it. The lion attacked it and roared to stay away from it. I think the intruder was never accepted into the pride, but in the commotion, the rest of the pride managed to catch one of the hyenas for dinner. Lion fights are an integral part of the life of these amazing big cats, but that's not all there is to say about lions. I suggest we finish with the attacks and fights and move on to the facts and interesting information. So keep watching to get to know the lions better. Let's start with the obvious thing. The lion is often called the king of the jungle. In some languages, including English, it's even its unofficial title. But in fact, lions do not live in the jungle. Their main habitats are the African grasslands and plains. Roaring. On these very plains and grasslands, lions can be heard very well, even when they're not nearby. The fact is that the roar of the lion can be heard up to 5 miles away. If the lion tries hard, it will roar with a volume of 114 decibels. This is the approximate volume of the music and the crowd at a rock concert. Prides of lions often roar in chorus, claiming their territory, and even the young lion cubs join in this roar. Lions are generally loud guys. They even sneeze very loudly. See for yourself. Mane. All cats are somehow similar to each other, but only lions have a mane. This is the main feature and trait of males. But why does the lion need such a head of hair at all? The mane is, in fact, an indicator of strength and activity of the animal. The darker the mane, the more attractive the male is to the female. In addition, the mane protects the neck and head of the beast during fights. Finally, looking at the mane, you can estimate the approximate age of the lion. The darker it is, the older the animal. The length of the hair in the lion's mane can reach up to 16 inches. You've seen a lot of footage today of lions attacking and hunting. Many people may think that lions hunt constantly, but in fact, it's not their main activity. The main thing is sleeping. Lions are incredibly lazy creatures. Most of the day, they rest or sleep. They sleep even more than many domestic cats do. They can stay up to 20 hours a day without action. Food. When the lion is not sleeping or hunting, it feeds. Interestingly, despite the African heat, lions may not drink for 4 to 5 days in a row, getting moisture from a stomach full of prey. But they can't do without food at all. Lions should eat every day. In one sitting, the lion can eat 66 to 88 pounds of meat, which is about 20 to 25% of its weight. But for the most part, the king of the jungle has smaller portions. The lion eats about 15 to 18 pounds of meat per day, and this is quite enough for it. Population. It may seem that there are a lot of lions and that these animals are not in a vulnerable position, but this is not the case. In fact, the lion is considered a vulnerable species, and that's too bad. Now there are about 20,000 lions left in the wild, while only 30 years ago there were 10,000 more. There are fewer and fewer kings of the jungle every year. Some scientists believe that if current trends continue and people do not take proper protective measures, wild lions may completely disappear from the face of the earth by 2050. That's all, guys. Which fact about lions surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.